The bottle of Rimadyl was nearly empty. I remember that because I had just picked it up to check if poor Gravy, our 12-year-old hound, had enough for the weekend. That's when I noticed the envelope. She left it next to the dog's medication, not on the kitchen table, not slipped into my work bag, not on the fridge next to our fun spring recipes magnet. No, it was just casually lying next to a bottle that smelled like beef-flavored despair. I thought it was a vet bill, or maybe a birthday card from her sister. But then I saw my name, typed, formal, and inside, divorce papers, filed, stamped, signed. Hers, not mine. She didn't even wait for me to ask. She walked into the living room, AirPods in, leggings on, fresh from another session with just a friend, Connor, and said, "If you're not going to accept him, we're done. It's that simple." Connor. Again. This man haunted every corner of our house without ever setting foot inside. He existed in her yoga mat, her smoothies, her playlists, her Instagram stories, her laugh. She didn't laugh with me like that anymore. Only at her phone. At him. I asked once months ago, "Are you seeing him?" She laughed. "No, I train with him, Russ. Do you think I'd throw away our marriage for a guy who wears toe shoes?" Apparently yes. Or maybe she didn't plan to throw it away. Maybe she thought I'd be spineless enough to stay. She said it like it was nothing. "Connor's going to be part of my life now. You can either accept that, or we move on." And she smiled, like we were talking about weekend plans. I stared at her. For a moment I thought I might actually vomit. But I didn't. I walked to the counter, took the pen that was still warm from her hand, and I signed, without asking for details, without begging, without pleading or yelling or making her feel important. Her smile flickered, like a candle in wind. "You signed?" she said. "Yep," I said. "You were very clear." Her lips parted, then closed, then parted again. "Wait. No, I mean, Russ, you misunderstood." But I didn't. For the first time in 6 years, I finally understood everything. And what came next? Let's just say, the divorce wasn't even the worst part. She followed me to the hallway like I'd just dropped a glass on the floor. I didn't say a word, just walked. She kept hovering behind me with her stupid, emotional panic half-smile, half-confused frown. The kind people make when their bluff gets called and they don't know the rules anymore. "Russ, wait," she said. "Can we please talk about this?" "Thought we just did," I muttered, grabbing my jacket off the hook, the same one she always threw her gym bag on top of. "You're taking this the wrong way," she said, as if the words "you can accept Connor or we're done" had multiple meanings. She was barefoot. I noticed that, standing there like a confused hostage in her own stage drama. "I didn't mean for you to just leave," she said. "This wasn't about giving up. It was about negotiating." Negotiating. I stopped and looked her in the eye. "You handed me divorce papers next to our dog's arthritis meds." She didn't even try to defend that. Instead, she stepped back and folded her arms across that neon green crop top she wore like armor. "I just wanted you to see that I'm serious. That Connor isn't going away." My laugh came out broken. "You gave me paperwork. Real paperwork. That's not a conversation starter, Janelle. That's an ending." I expected a comeback. A scream. A meltdown. What I got was silence. For the first time in months, she didn't have the last word. And it terrified her. I left that night. I didn't take much. Just a backpack, my old hoodie, my electric toothbrush, and my half-dead laptop. The rest of it? I didn't want it. Let Connor spot clean her yoga mats and meal prep organic chicken for 2. I drove around aimlessly for hours until I remembered Leo, my cousin who lives above a vape shop and thinks rent control is a government conspiracy. He opened the door in pajama pants and a UFC tank top. "Bro," he said, "did you finally leave her?" I just nodded. "You smell like broken dreams. Come in." The air mattress squeaked every time I breathed, and the room smelled like citrus vape and cat litter even though Leo doesn't own a cat. But I slept. Deep. Dreamless. Until my phone buzzed at 3:42 a.m. "Janelle," one new voicemail. I didn't check it. By the time I woke up at 10, I had 3 more. One from her, one from her mom, and one from a number I didn't recognize. All of them variations of the same theme. "You misunderstood. Please call me. I need to explain." What was there to explain? She'd picked her friend. She made the rules. She served the papers. But part of me still wanted answers. So I made a stupid decision. I logged into our shared iCloud account. We'd never desynced it. She always forgot. Or maybe she never thought she needed to. She wasn't hiding anything, right? Wrong. I opened her photo stream. She had deleted a lot. Recently, too. But Janelle doesn't know that just because you delete something from the visible album doesn't mean it's gone from the shared folder if your sync is set wrong. The first few images were harmless. Smoothies, gym shoes, some quote about owning your evolution. Then came the selfies. In bed, wearing a hoodie I didn't recognize. Not mine. Then a photo of her hand on someone's chest. No face. Just abs. And that same dumb beaded necklace I'd seen on Connor's Instagram profile pic when I hate scrolled it 3 weeks ago at 2 a.m. My stomach twisted. She brought him into our bed. No wonder she wanted me to accept him. It wasn't a friendship. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a replacement plan. I should have confronted her. Should have sent the pictures to her parents. Should have exposed everything. But instead, I took a screenshot. And then I opened her voicemail. And that's when I realized Connor wasn't picking up her calls either. By the next morning, I had 11 unread messages for missed calls and a migraine pulsing behind my left eye like a warning light. Janelle had left me a total of 6 voicemails. All of them had that same thin layer of fake concern iced over panic, like she was trying to cry but didn't want her mascara to run. I didn't listen to the rest. I already knew what they'd say. You misunderstood. We need to talk. Connor isn't answering me. Funny how she never once said, I'm sorry. But someone else had been silent this whole time, and that silence started to itch at my brain. Lana, Janelle's best friend since college. Maid of honor at our wedding. Weekly brunch partner. The woman who used to text me memes about how Janelle needs her protein or she turns into Satan. She'd always claimed to be neutral, always stayed out of our business. But the last 2 months? Dead quiet. Not a how are you? Not a Russ, are you okay? Just silence. And here's the thing. Lana knows everything. She always did. Janelle trusted her with things she wouldn't even admit to herself. If there was a cover-up, Lana was either the accomplice or the conscience that got tired of watching it play out. So I texted her. Hey, need 5 minutes. Off the record. Just talk. Didn't expect a reply, but she answered within 10 seconds. Come by. I'm alone. Janelle doesn't know I'm talking to you. That last line nearly gave me whiplash. Lana lived in a small condo on the east side. She always had a thing for candles that smell like firewood and music that sounds like clouds. When I walked in, she didn't say a word, just gestured to the couch and poured me coffee. The real kind, not that mushroom powder garbage Janelle had switched to after her third Pilates phase. I didn't waste time. Did you know? I asked, cutting through the jazz piano playing softly from her speakers. She didn't pretend not to know what I meant. She stared at her mug, swirled it once. Yes, she said quietly, but not all of it. That hit like a punch to the chest. So what part did you know? The bed? The necklace? Or the he's part of my life now ultimatum? Lana finally looked at me, and she looked tired, like this had weighed on her longer than I realized. Janelle told me it started emotional, she said. She said Connor helped her feel seen. She said you were checked out, that she felt invisible. I scoffed. I made her oatmeal every morning and scratched her back when she couldn't sleep. I was invisible. She said you were passive, Lana continued, clearly struggling. That you didn't fight for things. That you didn't argue. And she wanted to feel chosen. Chosen. I nearly choked. So she started pre-choosing someone else in case I failed the loyalty test? Lana didn't deny it. And that silence spoke louder than any defense. She told me she wasn't sleeping with him, Lana said. She swore, even when I asked directly. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot. Janelle's hand. The beaded necklace. The bed I paid for. Lana's eyes widened. Then her jaw tightened. She lied to me, too, she said softly. God, Russ. I'm so sorry. For a second, we just sat there. 2 people orbiting the same wreckage from different distances. Then Lana said something I wasn't expecting. You should check her notes app. I blinked. What? She used to write everything there. I don't think she realizes it syncs to iCloud sometimes. Journals, passwords, to-do lists. And stuff she didn't want anyone seeing. My fingers moved faster than my brain. I opened the shared iCloud tab again, scrolled past the photos, and tapped into notes. There were dozens. Some old, lists of groceries, birthday ideas for me back in 2019. Some recent, gym routines, half-written captions for Instagram, a bulleted packing list titled Napa Trip, Just Me and C. But one caught my eye. It was titled, "If he signs." My heart stopped. Lana leaned in, confused. "What is that?" I opened it. It wasn't long. Just a 3-sentence script. If Russ signs too fast, pivot to regret. Say he misunderstood. Cry. Apologize. Get time. Tell him Connor was a wake-up call, not a replacement. Buy time until lease renewal. Secure yoga franchise deal. Then exit clean. I felt like throwing up. It was a plan. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a step in her exit strategy. Even Lana looked shaken. I had no idea. I closed the phone. My throat was dry, and my hands were shaking. She planned for me to be broken, I said. Not gone. She never expected me to walk. And that's when Lana told me the worst part. Connor doesn't even want her. He's back with his ex. He told me 3 days ago. So now Janelle had burned everything, for nothing. And suddenly, I realized. I held all the pieces. I told Lana thank you, left her condo, and sat in my car for nearly 45 minutes with the engine off. My phone was burning a hole in my pocket, but I couldn't bring myself to touch it. That note, "If he signs," was still pulsing in my head like a war drum. I kept seeing Janelle's face the moment I signed the divorce papers, how her expression broke like a window someone forgot to reinforce. Because I wasn't supposed to do it. Not like that. I wasn't supposed to leave. I was supposed to crack. Instead, she was the one unraveling. But I couldn't let it end here. I needed to know what else she was hiding. If she had a note like that on her iCloud, what was waiting in the real world? So I did something I hadn't planned on. I went back to the house. Not to talk. Not to yell or scream or demand closure. I didn't want to give her that satisfaction. I just wanted information. The kind she wouldn't text or email or leave conveniently next to arthritis meds. But I wasn't stupid. I didn't go alone. I called Troy, my college buddy turned tax accountant turned wannabe survivalist. He's one of those guys who always keeps his gas tank full and still carries cash in his sock, just in case. He's also the only person I trust to keep a straight face when things go sideways. "Janelle's house?" he asked after I gave him the rundown. "You think she's hiding something?" "I know she is." 15 minutes later, we pulled up across the street from the 2-story colonial I used to call home. Porch light was off. Her car was gone. I figured she was still trying to chase down Connor, who, according to Lana, had ghosted her and returned to his ex like a dog who realized the bone was plastic. We waited another 20 minutes, just to be sure. Then I grabbed the spare key from behind the loose brick in the garden gnome's base. Yes, she still hadn't moved it, which said a lot. The inside of the house smelled like fake lavender and betrayal. I told Troy to wait by the door. I didn't want him seeing everything. I needed someone grounded on the outside, in case this went nuclear. I started in the kitchen, where it all began. The blender was still there. The divorce envelope was gone. But something new was taped to the fridge, a flyer for a yoga franchise startup. In big, bold letters. "Own your own studio in 90 days. With a sticky note. "Meeting with Hannah. Investor pitch Tuesday. Flex biceps sparkles." I took a photo of it. Then I moved to the living room. The couch had throw pillows I'd never seen before. Gold and pink. Definitely not my aesthetic. The bookshelf was cleaned out. Half the books missing, replaced with mood lighting and essential oils. She was scrubbing me from the walls. I walked upstairs. Our bedroom was rearranged. New sheets. No photos of us. A missing nightstand. But there was one thing she forgot. My old tablet, the one I'd used for sketching back when I thought I'd become a graphic designer. I opened the drawer, and there it was, under a stack of her nail files. Still charged. Still synced. I opened the Notes app. Different than iCloud. This one had a locked note labeled Contingency Plan 2, if Connor fails. My pulse jumped. I guessed her password in 3 tries. Our old dog's name plus her birth year. She was always predictable in the end. And there it was. Paragraph after paragraph. Drafts of emails to people I'd never heard of. A message to her mom explaining how Russ had grown cold and manipulative. A fake therapy log describing her emotional exhaustion from our marriage. She'd even typed out a timeline to make it seem like I had driven her away, not the other way around. There was a section labeled Phase 3, Public Narrative. She was preparing to make me the villain. Before I even had a chance to speak, I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. Troy called up from downstairs. "You good?" "No," I said, loud enough for him to hear. "But I'm getting there." That's when I noticed the voicemail icon blinking on the tablet. She hadn't disabled message sync either. There was a new voice recording. From that morning. I hesitated, then tapped. It was her, talking to someone else. I think he's going to ruin everything. I didn't expect him to sign. He was supposed to fight for it. For me. But now I think I made a mistake. And Connor, he blocked me. So I don't know what to do. I'm running out of time. A pause. I should have picked safer. Someone I could have managed. I froze. Managed? That's what I was to her. A controllable variable? A placeholder until she scaled her way out? Troy came upstairs, saw my face, and didn't ask. He just looked at the tablet, then back at me. Bro, he said. We have everything we need. I nodded. But I wasn't thinking about revenge. I was thinking about leverage. I didn't sleep that night. Not even close. After Troy and I left the house, we sat in his parked car for a full hour without speaking. Just breathing. Processing. The voice recording played in my head like a broken ringtone. I should have picked safer. Someone I could have managed. That sentence echoed louder than anything else. She hadn't just betrayed me. She had calculated me, tested me, set traps, created alternate timelines in private notes like she was playing chess while I was out here playing fetch with her gym shoes and washing her protein shaker bottles like a dumb golden retriever. And she failed. She thought I'd crumble, cry, cling. But all she did was hand me evidence, motive, and the keys to her lies. So the next morning, I made coffee and pulled out my laptop. Troy, bless his chaotic soul, was passed out on the couch, hugging a bag of Doritos like a therapy dog. I didn't want noise. I didn't want revenge porn or viral callouts or cheap drama. I wanted precision. I opened Gmail, drafted a message to Janelle, attached the photo of the if he signs note, attached the audio file of her voice, and the screenshot of the contingency plan from her tablet. Then I typed one line into the body of the email. I don't think you understand how much I understand. No greeting, no signature, no threats, just that. Then I hit send, and I waited. I didn't expect a fast reply. She had to think, calculate, maybe even panic. The control she thought she had? Gone. Her little house of yoga cards was wobbling now. I turned off notifications, grabbed a hoodie, and went for a long walk around the neighborhood. Not my old neighborhood, the one she gutted me from, but Troy's. I passed rundown barbershops, kids on scooters, a woman yelling at a trash can like it had personally betrayed her. It was all weirdly peaceful. By the time I got back, I had 14 messages. 6 from her. 2 from an unknown number I recognized as her mother's. The rest from someone labeled Lydia Sparkles Yoga Corporation. I opened Janelle's first. Russ, please. You don't understand what this will do. Oh, I did. That's the point. Then, can we talk? Just us? I'm sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen like this. And please don't ruin everything. I can explain everything. I just need a chance to fix it. The words fix it hit differently when you've read your ex-wife's pre-written exit script, her step-by-step guide to how she'd cry if the plan failed. Then came the bombshell. Message number 4. Russ, I'm pregnant. I froze. Read it again. Then again. And for a second, I'll admit it, I felt my chest cave in like a kicked-in door. I thought about the missed periods she blamed on stress. The vitamins she started taking again. How she stopped drinking wine 3 weeks ago, saying it made her too puffy. But just when the panic was about to take over, another message came in. This one from Lydia, the Sparkles Yoga Corp contact. Hi Russ, I'm reaching out per Janelle's referral. She mentioned your background in logistics and systems and thought you might be a great fit for a back-end consultant role in our expansion. I blinked. Back-end consultant? The next message was a PDF. A full pitch deck. Her pitch deck. And on slide 14, right under Strategic Partner for Inventory Workflow, was my name, my job title, my LinkedIn photo, like I was part of her new business. She had been selling me to investors like I was a prop she hadn't even asked permission to use. And now that I'd slipped the leash, her story didn't track. And that's when the final message came in. The one that broke her poker face entirely. Please don't talk to Lydia, or my mother, or Connor. Please, Russ. I'm begging you. Oh, there it was. Not an apology, not remorse, fear. So I replied to her, finally. One line. I'll give you 24 hours to come clean. To everyone. Or I will. I put the clock in her hands. Let's see how she handles time when she's the one being managed. At 10:01 the next morning, my phone rang. Not a text. Not a voicemail. A call. Caller ID. Doreen Hargrave, Janelle's mother. I hadn't spoken to Doreen since her weirdly cold toast at our wedding rehearsal dinner. Back then, she raised her champagne flute and said something like, "Here's to two people who couldn't be more different, and maybe that's the challenge they need." Everyone laughed. I didn't, and neither did Janelle. So now, years later, with her name lighting up my screen after I'd given Janelle 24 hours to tell the truth, I knew she hadn't. I answered. "Russell," Doreen said. Her voice clipped, like a principal calling after you through a chair through a window. "I've had a very disturbing conversation with my daughter this morning. Something about you threatening her business. And an email? What exactly is going on?" I took a breath. "Did she tell you I left?" I asked. "She said you stormed out." "Did she tell you why?" "She said you were jealous of her colleague, that you misunderstood their working relationship, and that now you're trying to sabotage her professional future." She sounded, frankly, terrified. I almost laughed. Terrified. Sure. That's what you call it when someone gets caught with detailed, time-stamped blueprints of emotional manipulation. "She gave me divorce papers," Doreen. "Told me I could either accept her male friend or we'd break up. So I signed." Then she panicked. Because it wasn't about giving me a choice. It was about controlling the illusion. Dead silence on the other end. Then, she said you signed in a rage. Did I sound enraged in the email I sent her? I asked. Or in the screenshots of the exit plan I attached? She hesitated. "You read it?" I asked again. "Yes," she said quietly. "I read it. And now you know." Another pause. Then she surprised me. "Would you consider meeting in person?" she asked. I blinked. "You?" "Yes. Just you and me. No Janelle. No drama. I want to hear the full story from your mouth." It took everything in me not to say no. Not to say you believed her all these years. You don't get to ask questions now. But something told me I needed this. Maybe not for closure. Maybe just for clarity. We met at a bakery she liked. The kind with overpriced croissants and those little handwritten signs that say things like locally sourced joy. She already had a tea waiting. I got black coffee. No cream. She sat still for a moment, studying me. Her eyes were sharper than Janelle's. Less emotional. More strategic. "I'll ask you once," she said. "Do you have any intention of exposing her publicly?" "No," I said. "But only if she tells the truth privately. To you. To Lydia. To anyone she used my name with for gain. That's it." Doreen nodded, like she was doing mental math. "Did you know she used your LinkedIn photo in her pitch deck?" I asked. That one hit. Her jaw tightened. "No, I did not." "She didn't just cheat on me," I said. "She sold me as part of a business she didn't build yet. She lied to her investors, her friends, and her family. I just want out. Clean." Doreen took a slow sip of tea. "I always told her she needed structure," she said. "I just never thought she'd turn marriage into a negotiation strategy." And then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled out her phone, opened her messages, and typed something right in front of me. Then she hit send. "I told her to come clean in 30 minutes, or I'm forwarding your email to the Yoga Corp's legal board myself," she said, sliding the phone back into her purse. "And Russell," I looked up. "I believe you now. I believe every word." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because it was the first time anyone in Janelle's orbit ever said that out loud. I left that bakery not feeling victorious, but real. Like for the first time in this mess, I wasn't just reacting, I was being heard. Back at Troy's place, I told him everything. "Her mom?" he asked, eyebrows up. "Dang, you went nuclear." But I hadn't. Not yet. Because 2 hours later, another email came in. Not from Janelle. From Lydia. Subject line: "Russell, can we speak privately? This is bigger than you think." I didn't open Lydia's email for an hour. Not because I was scared. I was just tired. You'd think learning your wife was a liar, a manipulator, and possibly pregnant by a man who ghosted her would be enough for 1 month. But the thing about betrayal is it doesn't just stab, it unravels. Slowly. One thread at a time until you're sitting in the ruins of your old life, wondering if you ever actually lived it at all. Eventually, I opened the message. It was short, professional, and unsettling in its calmness. "Hi Russell. Would you be willing to meet me in person or schedule a call? I've become aware of some inconsistencies surrounding Janelle's proposal that may affect your professional standing as listed in her materials. I'd appreciate a chance to clarify a few things directly with you. Lydia G., Founder Yoga Corp Expansion Program." Professional standing? That phrase nearly made me choke. Because here's the thing. I hadn't agreed to be in her business plan. I hadn't signed a contract. Hadn't offered consultation. Hadn't even attended one of those ridiculous vision board and matcha planning brunches she used to host in our living room while I hid upstairs pretending to reorganize my sock drawer just to avoid listening to 30-year-olds yell, "Manifest it," over retail spreadsheets. But somehow I was involved. So I agreed to meet. We scheduled coffee at a neutral co-working lounge, open floor plan, white noise machines, plants in geometric pots. Lydia was younger than I expected, maybe mid-30s, sleek hair and sharper eyes. She didn't waste time. "Russell," she said, shaking my hand like she'd done this 1,000 times. "Thanks for meeting me. I'll get right to it." She opened a tablet, swiped through a folder, then turned the screen to face me. "Is this your electronic signature?" I leaned in. It was a PDF of a non-disclosure agreement. My name, my email, and at the bottom, a nearly perfect replica of my signature. The same shaky loop in the R, the same long tail on the L. But I didn't sign it. "That's forged," I said immediately. She nodded slowly. "That's what I thought." Then she opened a second file, a letter of intent, also bearing my name, and again, my signature, followed by a list of contributions I allegedly agreed to provide to Yoga Corp, including operational system streamlining, inventory management protocol, distribution optimization between 3 pilot locations. I stared at the screen. "I don't even know what 2 of those things mean," I said. Lydia didn't smile, didn't joke. She simply locked eyes with me. "I need to ask something uncomfortable," she said. "Are you and Janelle legally separated yet?" "Divorce is pending," I said. She filed. I signed. She sighed. "Then I need you to know, if these documents were used to solicit capital, and she knowingly presented forged signatures, she may have committed investment fraud." I blinked. "What?" "I'm not accusing her," Lydia clarified quickly. "But we've had a few red flags. Inconsistencies in her financial projections. Misrepresented partnerships. And your email, well, it confirmed some suspicions." I leaned back in my chair. So Janelle wasn't just lying to me. She was lying to investors. She was using me as a cover story, slapping my name on decks, selling a business powered by vapor and fake signatures. "Connor," I asked, "was he listed too?" Lydia pulled up another slide. There he was. Connor D., Wellness Integration Partner. No wonder he bolted. He wasn't just sleeping with someone else's wife. He was accidentally co-signing a con job. And Janelle? She wasn't panicking because I exposed a little affair. She was panicking because the foundation of her new life, her new identity, was built on falsified documents and broken trust. I exhaled. "So what happens now?" Lydia closed the tablet. "That depends on her," she said. "If she comes clean to our board, returns the pre-seed funds, and issues a full correction to all prospective partners, I won't pursue legal action. If not, the attorneys get involved." I swallowed hard. "She thinks she's pregnant," I said quietly. "Told me a few days ago." Lydia paused. "Did she say who the father is?" "She implied it was mine," I said. "But given the timeline, and the way Connor ghosted her, I have my doubts." Lydia nodded. She didn't press, just handed me a folder. "I'm giving you this as a courtesy," she said, "to protect your name if this explodes. You might want to talk to a lawyer, not just for the divorce." I walked out of that meeting with the folder under my arm, my name officially cleared, but my soul a little heavier. I wasn't just watching Janelle's world fall apart. I was in it, whether I wanted to be or not. And when I got back to Troy's that evening, there was one more surprise waiting. On the porch, in the rain, holding a box. Janelle. She was soaked when I opened the door. Hair matted to her forehead, hoodie sagging under the weight of the rain. Makeup mostly gone. No dramatic mascara rivers, just the kind of slow, quiet ruin you see after a long storm. In her hands, a cardboard box. Dented. Damp. Her fingers clutched the bottom like she was afraid the whole thing would fall apart if she let go. "Can I come in?" she asked. Troy wasn't home. He'd left earlier to give me space, sensing something like this might happen. He said, "If she shows up, don't punch her, but don't let her talk you into anything either." That was the deal. I didn't answer her question, just stepped aside. She walked in, dripping onto the cheap rug. She didn't look around, didn't make small talk, just set the box down on the table and sat across from me like it was a negotiation. I came to give you something, she said softly. I waited. She opened the box. Inside were my childhood watch I thought I'd lost 2 years ago, a photo of us at our first concert, creased but protected in a Ziploc, my grandmother's recipe cards, and the tablet, fully wiped. I looked at her. She was shaking. I went to your mom's attic last summer, she said. You mentioned the watch was probably there. I found it, but didn't say anything. I don't even know why. Maybe I liked the idea of having something that was yours when I felt like I was losing you. I didn't say anything. She took a breath. I'm not pregnant. That was a lie. A stupid, desperate one. I thought if I said it, maybe you'd talk to me. Stay? The rain kept hitting the window. Soft, rhythmic, like applause for the truth finally being spoken. I told my mom everything, she said. And Lydia. And the board. They pulled the funding. I'm out of the program. And probably out of a job soon. Silence. Then she reached into her pocket and placed a folded sheet of paper on the table. I filed to void the divorce, she said. You didn't. You signed, but you didn't file. I thought you did. I was wrong. So I took care of it. I looked at the paper. She had. No more court. No more process. Just freedom. I don't expect anything from you, she added. I just didn't want the last thing I did to be a lie. So I brought this. Everything I took from you, I want you to have back. I stared at her for a long time. She didn't cry. Didn't plead. For once, she didn't try to script the moment. And that's when I realized she was done performing. She stood to leave. Goodbye, Russ. But before she reached the door, I spoke. Wait. She turned. I'm not angry anymore, I said. I'm tired, but not angry. Her shoulders dropped, like I'd said the one thing she hadn't let herself hope for. You were right about one thing, I added. I didn't fight. Not then. Not for you. But now I realize, maybe I wasn't supposed to. Maybe the right thing was knowing when to stop. She gave a small, tearless nod. I don't hate you, I said, but I don't need you anymore. And just like that, she smiled. A real one. The first in a long time. Neither do I, she said. And that's the scariest part. She left. I didn't follow. I didn't collapse. Instead, I poured myself a coffee and opened the box again. I took out the photo from that concert years ago. We looked like kids, lost in each other. Back when love didn't have a script or a pitch deck or an agenda. And I finally smiled, too, because I had no idea where life would go next. But for the first time in a long time, it would go somewhere mine.